Good morning. You'll have to bear with me a little bit, but I'll try to explain what I'm doing, and hopefully my head won't get in the way to cause the picture to be fuzzy. I'm going to spray a little water on the paper, and then we're just going to put some random colors down and make trees. And the last one I did, I started out with a dark neutral tint. I think this time I might start out with some better, more lively colors. Let's try maybe these will be fall trees. I'm going to put some colors in here. Just random. I hope. Oh, I like that color. That's really nice. I used a red that's got some orange in it. We're going to make some trees. There's some random tree shapes. Little dry brush. A little more black in there. A little more neutral tint in there, rather. You use the side of your brush and get the water out of your brush, and you can get some nice dry brush effects. I'm working on Arch's cold press. It made a nice kind of purple color, didn't it? All right. I'll put some more neutral tint in there to make some more darks. I'm going to think about which is the dark side of the tree. That's always important. Trying to see if I can't get that in there. Well, there's an ant crawling across the picture. Let's see, get a little more action down here. These drippy landscapes are really a lot of fun. You really don't know what you're going to get. And you sort of have to constantly be trying to figure out what's it going to do. This is all kind of messy cookie. Let's take some of this stuff out. Okay, that's a little better. I kind of don't like the fact that I didn't leave any place for the trunks of the trees to go. I'm going to put another horizon in. I'm going to lower the horizon just a little bit. What color can I put in there to make that interesting? Mop up some of this stuff that's dripping all over everything. You can take at this point where this paint is not shiny. Can you see there's not much shine left on there? And when the paint is that dry or that moist, you can actually make some interesting. I've got just a simple little nail file. You can use a palette knife also, but this was the first thing that came to mind. You can put some tree trunks in here. When it's wet like this, it will give you dark marks. If it gets a little drier, you can actually make white marks. It just depends on what you're looking for. And you want to be careful with this because it can get out of hand. I'm going to try a little dark paint in a couple of places. A little wet there. It's a little wet there. It's actually too wet. Let's put some more wet into wet stuff in. We'll just do some more wet into wet. Try to put some stuff in here so these trees will sit down on the ground. This is not a very interesting color combination, I'll tell you. Let's put some different colors in here. I said it was going to be fall, didn't I? So let's try some yellow in a few places. And when you put thick paint with not very much water on your brush, this is what's called charging. I'm charging the color in there. You didn't know I had my credit card with me, did you? This is a little dry. It's not going into the paper the way it's supposed to. So I'm going to put a little water on it and dab it out. It's just too dry there. Watercolor is basically all about how dry is your paper and how wet is your paper. And you can do all kinds of beautiful things when it's wet. You can do all kinds of beautiful things also when it's dry. You just have to know when to go in and when not to go in. I like this little tree over here with all those little speckles in it. But that's all going to change. And it's all going to change. We're just going to have some fun here doing stuff. Now I'm going to give this a little squirt. See if I can't make some of this run. Well, that's kind of interesting. This might be one of my bad mornings. But I'm testing the camera. That's what I'm doing. Testing the camera and myself for whether you can see when I'm doing little bitty stuff. Am I making it so that you can see? A couple of little birds in the sky. When you get drips like this, you can pick them up with your brush by pushing them back up into the painting. I'm using a dry brush to do that. And down here you can pick them up with a paper towel because you don't want those to be there. You can also pick them up with a paper towel like this. They will cause a blossom. Sometimes you want a blossom, and I do blossoms on purpose a lot. Like right now, I'm going to see if I can't create with just plain water. I'm going to create some ground fog across here. You see the water? You see what's happening? The water is pushing the paint away. See how it's pushing the paint away? Now some of that was dry and it won't push it away when it's dry. It's just like when you put paint into a damp surface, it'll create these blossoms on purpose. I don't know if you can see this. It'll push that paint right away. See what beautiful marks I got in here just from putting plain water on there. This has got to dry now. Okay, the painting's all dry. Now I'm going to try and put some things up here in the foreground. I will very often use construction paper with color to see what kind of things I might want in the foreground. But I'm pretty sure I want some tall stuff up in here to sort of push this stuff back by putting something tall up here. This is so similar to that one that I did yesterday. It's like I don't have any imagination. We'll see if we can't make this one really different. We'll give it a try. I'm going to try and make this tree bigger, and I'll probably have to get rid of some of those birds, unfortunately, but we can put them back. So we're going to do a little dry brush, which means I'm going to take my brush and take some of the water out of the heel of the brush so that I can get this dry brush effect. There goes the birdies. I need to put a little of that green back in there because I did have that in the, that's a nice big tree. We're going to make this tree I don't know what kind of tree it is. A tree. Tree. We're probably up north somewhere, not in Florida. Well, that's pretty big. Now let's see if we can put some branches on him. Ground him there. Put him in the ground so he's growing. This little brush, I don't know if you can see it that well. It has quite a, it's called a sword brush. It's got a nice point on it. And it sort of splays out once in a while into 2 or 3 pieces. And that gives you interesting marks. Now I'm going to change over to my other brush and get some paint in here so I can create a few of those interesting drips. Now here again, we've got big drips. I need to pick those up. You can pick them up and push them up, which works. Okay, that's sitting down on the ground nicely. This almost looks like a lake now. We just might make that into a lake. And in order to make it into a lake, we need to have a little bit of shoreline. But I don't want to get into that ground fog. Let's do some more of these little, let's have this brush really does wonderful things. It just splits and makes interesting, very interesting marks. Some of these trees, they have lots of branches, and they go every which way. And we're just gonna make them go every which way. And we're gonna put a little bit of water on that and let it run down. And make a little reflection. I really like to paint a little more realistically, but sometimes doing these wet into wet, see what happens paintings, you learn a lot about what the paint does. You learn a lot, and that's very useful. Now I've got the cameras right in front of my head, so I'm hoping the focus on this is going to be better than yesterday. Maybe we'll put a couple of more of these little trees back there. Maybe we'll have one that's got some red in it. Could be a red tree, Couldn't there in the fall? See, now I've interrupted that. There's that ground fog going across there. And here I've got ground fog. So I'm going to make this trunk poke out a little bit there. Now I'm going to hit this with, and let it make a, oh God, look at that. Isn't that cool? That is so cool. Now I need something brighter. What color are we going to make the sky? I think this is a warm picture. I want this to be warm, to stay warm. Well, sometimes you have to just take what you've got and sit on it for a while. And what I do is I like to put it somewhere in the house. And when I walk around the corner, I see it there in a little mat and I say, oh, my God, why didn't I do that? Or, good grief, that's really wrong. You can learn a lot that way. I'm just darkening up these little trunks a little bit more. I think maybe I might put another little tree in here. That's really wet down there, isn't it? Must make it wetter. Make that disappear. That's how you erase. And I want this to run. And I want it to run down a little bit. Oh, wow, that's really a lot. Too much. Too much. We got rid of that. But it gave me enough of a reflection. When I got some of my ground fog there, I'm going to take a brush and take all of the paint out of it so that it's nice and dry. And see if I can take the heel of the brush and see if I can't pick some of that paint up. That's the ground fog. There, I got some of it. That's kind of nice. I think I'm going to end this short video to see what kind of mistakes I made with my camera up here and see what other trouble I can get to in a few minutes. So goodbye for now. I'll see you next time.